Welcome back. Thank you guys for watching Explain Yourself. I almost forgot what show we're on because we haven't been here for a little while. But we're back and we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit. We're back from vacation. Ben just got back in town. And we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about some really cool Kickstarters that are live right now. We're going to invite our friend CJ Hudson in to talk a little bit about Amongst the Stars. And then hopefully we can get Matthew Blair to join us. If he's not able to join us, we're still going to talk about his campaign and talk to you guys all about that really cool stuff. But before we get in, Ben, how have you been, man? It's been a couple of weeks since we checked in.
Pretty good. A lot of chaos, but it's all over now. So I'm glad to be back in New York and back on the show.
Yeah, and it's been a really fun kind of filled summer already. It's been crazy. Everybody's been doing the vacation thing and going out of town, man. So CJ, have you guys done any vacation?
No, not yet. We're gonna do something big later in the year. We're gonna hit up Japan and Taiwan, so that'll be pretty cool.
That's very fun. That sounds cool, man. I think you've told me before. Have you gone there before?
To Japan, yeah, not to Taiwan though. So we're looking forward to that.
Very, very cool. Super excited. So let's get into this. Ben, please lead the way.
All right. So first book we're going to look at is CJ's book. It's the anthology through Band of Bards called Amongst the Stars. I'm going to bring that up right now. And this one's doing great, getting pretty close to the goal, but going to the home stretch with 5 days here. So, CJ, give us the quick elevator pitch on Amongst the Stars.
Yeah, sci-fi, romance, short stories, anthology from some of the best, I think, indie creators in comics right now. This was all done through submission process, too, so I didn't reach out to people by and large. There's a couple of fill-ins because we had some people drop out from the original campaign, but mostly this is people that submitted really awesome pitches and were selected. We had like over 150 submissions and we whittled it down to 14 or so. And this is what you have in front of you. And honestly, I think it's a really good looking anthology. Obviously, it's unique in its content. Like, you don't see a whole lot of romance. You do see a decent amount of sci-fi, but thought that it would be a fun merger of the two. And there's some really great artists involved. You have Sid Mills and Carolyn Leelane and just a number of great creators. And then writers like Doug Wood, Travis B. Hill, Damian Becton, and the list kind of goes on and on. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're getting close. I knew that it would be a tough anthology, but it's nice to see that we're in the home stretch, and I think we can get it done. Yeah,
absolutely. So I love how this looks. I mean, I'm a sucker for science fiction, so anything in that genre, I'm really into. What gave you the idea to approach it like as a romance anthology and instead of any other genre? Was it just that there wasn't a lot out there, like you'd mentioned, or was there any like particular stories or other anthologies that you were inspired by and thought, hey, this would be a cool twist?
You know, I love sci-fi. I read a ton of sci-fi, probably the thing I read the most of besides fantasy. And I thought to be unique and have something different out on Kickstarter, it needed to be kind of a blending of genres. So I thought, you know, let's do romance, and we can blend that in with sci-fi and see how it goes. And I was really shocked at how many people actually wanted to participate. Like I said, 150 submissions for this. And I think what was most impressive was that there was a lot of really good ones that didn't get selected because obviously you only have so much space in an anthology, right? You can't have unlimited space. You have to make it price conscious. And also you have just an incredible, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. you have totally just lost my train of thought. I don't know. I've had a cold today, so I'm feeling kind of out of it. Sorry.
It's so hot and humid here that I feel
yeah.
myself doing the same thing. My wife and I.
Yeah. So it's Yeah, it's a really impressive body of work. Oh, what I was going to say is that there were so many people that just didn't get selected, and that wasn't that they weren't good. It was that literally we had to see what complemented what in the anthology. So we had some things that were maybe similar, or some things that we needed to be sort of dissimilar that we felt would go better together. And that's what we're left with here.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some really great, like very diverse looking stuff in terms of art styles, and I can even kind of tell in terms of just from these preview pages, like this rejection one looks like it's very high level Galactus cosmic stuff, which could really work, and I think is great contrast to some of this that looks a little more cyberpunk. And I think it kind of gets in that Black Mirror territory, not necessarily in terms of the the tone that Black Mirror has or the darkness of it, but that it can kind of play with different levels of sci-fi, and it really does hold together, thematically.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. It feels like each one of these stories is definitely going to take me on a journey through space and time. I love this feel of this time around. It's a little bit. It does feel a little bit more darker, and at this time, but it's such like all these really great looking covers and interior art. Like I really love this this book. I really hope everybody out there is going to be able to love this one as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And romance is, it's such a broad term too, because there's a lot of action and adventure and things. I mean, Damien's story is definitely more action oriented, and rejection is sort of prosy. Like everybody just kind of took their spin on it. We didn't have a whole lot of rules. We just said, give us your interpretation of science fiction and romance combined, and with a few things like, we wanted to keep it PG-13. We wanted it to be, accessible to a lot of people. But other than that, we were kind of like, go nuts.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. I love. I've been meaning to point this out because I've seen you post it a lot of times. But that skull ring thing in Attempt 1623 is so cool, and I think that image more than anything made me think all right, how on earth are they going to tie that in with a romance thing? Although, I mean, you think about it, romance is super broad. You can do almost anything and tie it into that. And I mean, people also forget that romance comics were the biggest genre. I want to say the 50s as the superhero stuff died down. Before rebounding in the Marvel Age. So definitely there's a lot of really fertile story territory to cover. And I think when you combine that with science fiction, which is just equally go nuts, do whatever, you can have the best of both worlds in terms of, really giving drama, I think, to the romance stuff, which if you think back of those old romance comics, they were a little stale in that they were always just very realistic, down to earth. When you throw some science fiction there, I think you can really spice that up a little bit, add some conflict, and I think really heighten your whatever theme you're going for, whatever sort of story points you're trying to really nail and make exciting. I think having the sort of magic wand of science fiction or fantasy, throw that in there, really lets you punctuate things and add conflict where you need it. So I hope that's certainly looks like a lot of your creators have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a lot of unique storytelling. I'm really proud of the work. I'm hoping that we can get it done. We're really close. I think it'll happen. We just need that final push.
Yeah, with 5 days left, I think you guys are in a good spot to get there, which is cool. Do you have a story in this, or are you just editing and kind of putting it together?
I did a short 2-pager. The rejection story is mine with Sid Mills. Yeah. So I just did a little quick one. I figured, as curator, I can throw something if I want to. And I put that in the submissions. I was like, I'm open to putting in my own story if I want to, but it would be to the same length limitations as anyone else. And I just decided to do 2 pages for fun.
Well, without giving too much away, I know with the 2-pager, there's probably not a lot you can't, cover without giving away the whole thing. But tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah. I mean, it's a quick one, but it's basically cosmic entities going through a breakup, and so what that sort of manifestation means across the cosmos. So I wrote it in a very prosy type. There's no dialogue really. The only thing similar that I tried was with Tiny Island, which was similar in that approach. I just kind of mixed merged the two and tried to do that. That was my last campaign that I ran with Joey just a little while ago, and I'm always kind of trying to blend things and try to do different things. I do traditional storytelling too, but felt like having a prose approach overlaid on images would be kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. It gives me like that vibe. It's always one of my favorite parts of any like fantasy or sci-fi movie is where they have that first 10 minutes where they're just like getting all the world building out of the way, and they usually just have a voiceover. It's good imagery that's kind of montagey. It's like my favorite part of every Lord of the Rings movie that I've seen. Just I love that thing, and I really love to see it in comics just because it's I think perfectly suited to that. It's setting up events of like any scale, which is cool to see.
Yeah, and this one has always kind of made me feel like an old school punk rock zine kind of thing, because it's like somebody's like their artwork and then we have the words laid over on top of that stuff, and it's like this poetry, this poetic kind of thing coming together with the imagery and the feelings and the things that you're reading when you do read them. It's like it's this amazing feeling, and it definitely brings back this kind of feeling of nostalgia when it comes to reading things like this. I love when people can make anthologies their own. So how do you feel like you guys have done that at this time around with this book? Do you feel like you guys have made this your own?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely unique, and we did such a good job, I think, of picking the best stories possible. I don't know that there'll ever be, another romance sci-fi anthology. I mean, I don't know that there's like a desire from a lot of creators to do that. So I definitely think it's going to stand out as something that's going to be unique. So yeah, I think we did. I think we really tried to make it our own. And tried to be as different as we could. Rio Burton, I'm looking at that page there. She's just a phenomenal artist and was kind enough to fill in after we had some people drop out from the first iteration, which happens. A lot of people, their stars kind of like started going up and up, like Fellhound obviously has a comic coming out. They were tied to a story, but we've got a great replacement in there with Eileen Wajaja. So definitely happy with how things turned out, and we just kind of rolled with the changes. We kind of knew with a second launch that it'd be hard to keep the band together, but definitely happy that we got a lot of other stellar creators to fill in, like Marcus Jimenez, Rio, and a couple others.
Yeah, I was going to mention Fellhound. I mean, that her last book was really in this genre. It was total sci-fi romance, and was tragic and sad, but moving. But yeah, she's certainly been doing better and better. I did have one question. I wanted to jump back on your story. The way your artist is painting this, I get like such an Alex Ross vibe from it. Did you guys talk about that, or did you kind of plan it out, or did he just run with that and that's what he came up with?
Yeah, Sid is a fantasy artist. This is her first interior comic work, and I just really wanted to work with her, and felt like they would do a phenomenal job. And Sid said, "Oh, I haven't done comic work, but I definitely would love to try it, and I definitely see what you're going for." And I just tried to keep the panels small or large, small amount of panels, like 2 panels per page. So that way Sid's art could really sell what I was trying to go with. And with a painted style, I felt like having fewer panels made more sense. So yeah, I was pretty stoked with how it turned out. Sid's phenomenal. Maybe he's done some cover work, but never interiors, which is really
definitely cool. Feel like that's exactly what you did too.
Yeah, no, you left it really open for just that canvas to be big and to tell the story in that way. Really cool looking stuff. And then of course some of these other stories have great artwork. I love the coloring here in the drawing.
Like really how cool that story is, Ben, is with that rejection. Literally, because I helped them build this campaign. all of those images that you see there is literally the like the 2 pages that fill this.
Oh,
It's literally just 2 pages, and it's though I had to think differently about this too to kind of make it look like they were different, and how and still not like take away from the story or the way the artwork was intended, right? So I kind of just took these different vignettes of these 2 different pages that I saw that was really, really cool and made me feel different feelings, and I put them into these different panels and made it look like it. I'm looking at it now, it looks like it's like several pages when it's literally like 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely. Great looking stuff. I mean, and like I was kind of saying, is everything in here just looks fantastic. I think this looks just as good as any indie book you're going to see anywhere, and it's really cool to see such good quality, but also, like different styles. You've got a consistent level of quality, but a lot of different vibes throughout here, and I think that also kind of lets you know the stories are going to be, obviously very different as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like Ben's story's great. I love Lady Tiger. You were calling out Katie Brown's colors on Lady Tiger. Really phenomenal colorist and great writer too. Lady Tiger was one of the first stories that I read, and we didn't ask for concept art. We said you don't have to, but if you want to, it never hurts to see. And they submitted concept art, and I was just like blown away from it. I was like, wow, they really went above and beyond. We said you didn't have to, but when you do take that extra step and it's good, curators will notice that and say, oh, wow, like I can really see what you're going for here. This is going to be really cool, and definitely didn't disappoint.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, it's obvious this one definitely looked good. I was going to ask you about the submission process. What did you ask each team to submit at the outset? Was it just like a story brief? Did you want to see artwork, like cover images, or just examples of the artist's work? Like, how did you approach that?
Just a pitch, a 1-paragraph pitch, story title. Script was optional, character designs were optional. So kept it very brief, like sell me on the idea, beginning, middle, end, tell me the story as concisely as possible. And I'm going to go from there, and then whittled it down to some semifinalists, and then finalists, and then finally the selections.
Cool.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go step by step because I felt like I needed to do multiple purges because some were so good it was hard to make a decision out the gate. So I really had to whittle it down kind of thoughtfully.
Yeah, I would think with so many submissions, you mentioned, I think you said 150. There's got to be a lot of stories you're just like, this is great. I'm heartbreaking, can't conclude it, but obviously, I think as a reader, you got to know with that many submissions, you're getting nothing but the greatest hits here.
Yeah. It was like I said, there's a lot of really good creators in indie comics. I was pretty impressed with the teams. A lot of people submitted with teams. We said you could just submit as a writer, but it'd be better if you had a team. You kind of got to give yourself a better chance. Most people submitted with teams, and I was pretty blown away at the quality of the pitches and the extra mile that people went in with their artist partner to actually give like character designs and things. It was pretty cool to see.
And I did have one question. Like, I know you said your story is 2 pages. What's the kind of range on that? Are we mostly 5 pagers? Like, what kind of different lengths of stories do we have here?
There was a lot of 10 pagers, which was kind of interesting. Yeah, that was the max that we said we'd allow, was 10 pages. And a lot of people submitted 10. I think the shortest besides me is maybe 4. And there's a 6, but a lot of people are towards the higher end of that count, which makes sense. I do the same thing. I kind of laughed because I was like, anytime somebody says a range and they're like 4 to 10 pages, I'm always like, cool, I have 10 pages to tell this story. So I always go for like the maximum amount, because I feel like I tell a better story if I have more room to breathe. That's just me. Some people might be like, oh, I'm good with 4. And if all I had was 4, I would do the best I could there. But I like to let the story breathe a little bit. That's my preference. And so I wasn't shocked when a lot of people submitted the maximum length.
No, I wouldn't be, especially with science fiction, and it's an intro story, and you're I think compelled to do for each story some level of world building, or whatever even if you have one element in it that's science fiction, you've got to establish that. I'm working on the short story for another science fiction anthology, and I think I have 8 pages. And I was sitting here like, okay, I've got to set up the character, I've got to set up whatever the sort of MacGuffin of the science fiction stuff would be. And then you've got to tell the story. It's, I mean, tough with any amount of pages, I think under 20 to do that, but it's an especially difficult task when you're doing a one-off story where you have to set up everything. And then, also tell a great story.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how you did that in 2 pages, but I'm excited to see.
Yeah. It's tough. And that's why I felt like the prose approach would be helpful for me, and just kind of basically have captions telling the story, no dialogue, just try to be as concise as I could. Would more pages have been cool? Yeah, it would have been cool. But, like also when you're getting painted art too, it can take quite a while. So I was like, 2 pages is probably good. And I didn't want it, for this story, I didn't want to overshadow like the great people that already submitted. Even though I'm working, with killer artists with Sid Mills, I was like, I don't want to have like 10 pages. I want to be the smallest amount of pages. I'm just the curator. Like, I still want to put something in here because I love this anthology, but I kind of did that purposefully too, where I felt like that was the right thing to do, where it's not like, CJ Hudson presents Amongst the Stars or anything like that. I'm just the guy that put it together.
Yeah, that's cool. I think also in that I like in anthologies when you have some stuff that is like, not that this story is about the visuals, but it's a very different type of visual style than the other ones. You've got the painted artwork. It's really well rendered, really colorful. It's kind of nice, I think, just to have a break a little bit sometimes between other stories. And you've got something that's a little more of an art showcase in some ways. And then you kind of go back into like a more traditional story. And I think that's something that's really important when you're putting together anthologies. We've talked to a lot of people doing that. And I've noticed almost everybody we've spoken to that's doing that has really had a good eye to keeping the momentum over the entire book, and really been thoughtful about that. It's something that would never have occurred to me, but having seen it done so many times with people we've talked to here, I think it's really important. And I think having a shorter story like that, especially that's a tonal shift in terms of the art, really makes it fun for the reader.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm hopeful. I think we're right there. We're down to the wire. It seems like a lot of people like it. So I'm constantly showing more pages to, the page looks really good, but I'm always like pulling more pages out to be like, look here, like, this, it's really good looking art. Like you don't want to like put too much into these pages. Joey's really good about being very thoughtful about how he puts into it. And honestly, I think it's nice to kind of save something for us to market too later and have people be like, oh shit, wow, I didn't see that. Like that looks really cool. So I'm thinking we can do it with your guys' help. I know coming on Collective here, you guys are going to push us over the edge. I feel it.
I hope so, because this is definitely a gorgeous looking book. All the artwork inside and out, all these new covers. I always make a joke with this, but man, I love that green booty cover. And I know everybody else does. It's a gorgeous looking cover, man.
Yeah.
And, so
amazing.
Yeah, and so great looking covers this time around, and then great prices too. We're gonna get into that here after this. We're gonna take a quick little break, and we're gonna when we come back from the break, we're gonna talk about marketing and setting prices and thinking about things like that and the future, and then actually real goals, because when we get this thing initially funded, guys, that's just the initial fund, right? We need a lot more to make sure that this gets happen is it's going to happen. But we want to make sure that this team is paid properly, that everybody has things all set in order, right? We have funds to make sure that we have this fulfilled, right? That's what this is all about, is to fund all these really fun things that you guys have, and we're offering you guys in this Kickstarter. But let's Ben, let's go ahead and queue up our friends over at All Ages of Geek, their video for our quick little break. We'll come back and talk a little bit about some marketing.
Click that mouse and warp into All Ages of Geek's website, your ultimate portal to everything geek culture. Here you'll find articles that speak your language, from the latest anime buzz to the coolest tech trends. Our mission? To celebrate geekdom in all its glory. Whether you're a gamer, a comic enthusiast, a 90s kid, or an anime aficionado, we've got something for you. Dive deep into them with All Ages of Geek.
Thank you to our friends over at All Ages of Geek. If you guys want to find all kinds of really fun stuff, all kinds of geeky things, head on over to All Ages of Geek. You will find whatever you're into there. I guarantee it. If you are into anime, comics, everything in under the sun that is geeky, you're going to find it there. They're going to be doing some really cool stuff. They do interviews, they do YouTube videos, they do watch like live watches. Like, you guys really got to check this stuff out. They are a contributor to Archetypes. They contributed to our first issue, and they're also going to be contributing to the second issue as well. So make sure you guys are following All Ages of Geeks. Head on over to allagesgeeks.com and check them out all over the place. So make sure you guys are doing that. Thank you for sponsoring the show and everything, and collaborating on everything you guys do. Amazing stuff. So let's get into some of this marketing stuff, because we're talking about the store. We were talking about the artwork and everything. I love that. But the other side of this campaign is actually talking a little bit about money, and then selling these things and figuring out these different price points, and trying to reel CJ back from putting all these covers out there and sticking to this budget. So when you're going into something like this, because you got such a big thing going on here with so many different people, and how do you kind of reel that in and then still think about staying on budget?
Yeah, it's really hard. I think you have to look at what other people are doing, but also have to bear in mind what you can reasonably get as well, because every creator is different, right? Every publisher is different. Every type of book is a little bit different too. So if Band of Bards were to have done an erotic anthology, this could be $100,000 right now, right? It really could. It really could be. Like, we laugh, but it could be true because that's how the market is right now. Like, they probably would have made significantly more money doing that. So we have to be conscious and be like, okay, this is not erotica. This is sci-fi. This is very different. It's done by indie creators. A lot of them are decent names, but none of them do big two work. Like, they're all indie creators. So we're kind of starting from a low point, but also you don't want to go too low, because like, you don't know that you're going to get the volume to make up for that differential, right? So we could say, oh God, let's make this a $5 book. We want to make this as cheap as possible. If this was $5, I don't know that we would have attracted more people necessarily. That's always a gamble. So I think we priced appropriately for a 90-page anthology. Honestly, I think that's a really fair price. I think probably realistically it could be more, but we wanted it to be reasonable. And that's what
I do want to tell you guys, I was in on some of these backstage conversations, and there was a discussion about this being low or too high. Where do we meet? It was an ongoing conversation before this thing launched, and I think everybody kind of met at a really good place. And I'm in 90 pages. You get the first physical issue is $25 for that physical issue. 90 pages. This is going to be square bound, right? Perfect bound.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a steal for $25. Seriously, that's a steal. With all this great artwork, with this gorgeous looking cover. This is my favorite cover right here. And 90 pages. So we all saw the conversations that were going on in the Twitterverse, right? About price points for indie comics on crowdfunding platforms. And a lot of people are saying anywhere from a 23-page comic to like a 90-page comic, and what do you set those price points at? And then once you set price points, now you got to calculate all this stuff up and think about how much it actually costs to fund this thing, and how many. It's crazy, guys. Seriously, this is the scary things, right? You have to go and now do some averages on how much an average person needs to back at what price point to make sure that you guys get to that point. And you're like, holy crud, this is not what I was going, signed up for. So how do you CJ deal with that big mountain of numbers that you have to go head first into when you're dealing with building these campaigns, especially something this big?
Yeah, number crunching is really hard because you gotta make sure that you cover all your costs, right? Like, and with this, you have to pay creators. There's printing, there's covers, like there's a lot to bear in mind with something like this. One nice thing with like working with a publisher is that you're hoping that over time you can get some of that back too. Like with a campaign, so for most of us creators, we have to make like most of that money back right away. With publishers, sometimes they're willing to say, let's play the long game, let's try to get 90% of it back. We can maybe wait to recoup some of this other costs later, because we can sell some of these at cons or we can sell them at other places. But it's really challenging to set a goal. I mean, originally we threw a lot of different numbers around. The original goal for this last time around was 20K, and that was probably way too high. What we needed to do was have some more done up front with the project, show more pages. We needed some different artwork, etc. And that's what we tried to rectify this time around. But it's really challenging to hit that specific price point. Like, and you have to play the algorithm too a little bit, like we could have, set it lower maybe, but if you really need $6,500, it's hard to gamble to say, hey, let's set this lower too. If you really, really need it, for Tiny Island, I gambled a little bit and set it lower, and it paid off because I was able to recoup my costs by playing the algorithm. That really worked to my benefit. But here we decided to go a more conservative route. Would it have changed if we set it lower? I don't know. You just don't know how that's going to play out for you. So I think we did it right on this. We met, much lower than we did originally from the 20K, because we funded quite a bit up front. We got so many more covers and a lot more art to show. So I don't know, man, that's a rambling answer, but it's really hard. It's really hard to set pricing and to recoup costs, and to really identify what you need versus what you want.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? Identifying what you need versus what you want. And then when you go into it and you're actually building out this campaign, you have to figure out, okay, those numbers are there in my head, but what are these other campaigns funding at this point in time? Because this is a sales game, right? And we are subject to consumer sales trends. It doesn't matter if it's comic books or whatever, because if people are out there spending money on vacations, which this summer there was an article out there saying that this is the biggest summer where everybody it's the biggest tourist summer since 2019, since before the pandemic, right? And then so now you got to think about it. We're 4 years away from when the craziness of the pandemic. So now 3-4 years away, things are starting to get a little bit better priced for us. People are starting to be able to have a little bit more money in their pockets, and they're now able to go out and go to vacation and take their families out. Listen, we went on vacation this year, and we hadn't gone on vacation in like 7 years. So, and we had a little bit of extra money, and we're like, oh, cool. Now let's have fun with it, right? And with our families. So we are subject to, when people do things like this, it's a big, huge trend. And when everybody's doing it, right? We're doing it. You guys are going to be going on vacation if you haven't already. So it's like we are definitely subject to those trends, because if they're spending money outside of their home, where if they weren't on vacation, they'd be spending it on Kickstarter, right? So it's like you're going to be subject to all those stuff. So we're subject to sales trends, and we have to think about it that way. And it's different from just like, doing work for hire jobs where people tell you what to do, you just do it, and if it's good or not, and then you make fixes, and then you go, right? But you're actually really thinking about this thing from all angles, right? Because now you're thinking about funding this thing. You're thinking about getting this on a platform to fund it. Now, that's not where it ends. You have to go and now make sure that this thing is fulfilled. And then sometimes there's mistakes, and you got to fix those mistakes, right? And how do you handle these things? So when it comes to handling these crazy hiccups during a campaign, CJ, how do you tackle those things?
I think communication is key. It can get challenging when you have a lot of people working on things, but you just have to keep communicating and keep talking, because otherwise I think like once you stop, communication can break down. And that's one thing I've noticed. It's definitely different working with a publisher on a Kickstarter than it is doing it yourself, because if it's you, like you might have your marketing advertising guy, like, Geek Collective. And then like, this is very different than Tiny Island because it was just you and me. And now we have a lot of other people to consider. But with that also comes a lot of knowledge too, and a lot of insight into things. So I wouldn't say one's necessarily better than the other. They're different. They're very different. And you have to keep those lines of communication open, because it can break down easier when you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a big one. You have, okay, let's go back to some of the pricing here. You got the first one at $25. We have the physical Stardust at $25 as well. So you get A and B at $25, and then you get a spot foil. They're calling the Supernova Smooches. This one, you're gonna get that at $30. Yeah, these are great names, right? And then you got the Holochrome Never Let Go. This one is one of my favorite covers here. Like this $30 Holochrome with the octopus coming out. So
yeah, Siegfried's cover is really cool. He was doing interiors originally for a story and had to drop out because of timing, but he was like, dude, I'd still love to do a cover. And it just kind of blew me away, his concept. I was like, yes, let's do this. This is really cool.
Space tentacles. I love it. And then we got the Virgin Tender Caress, which is again green space booty, and then you get the green space booty in a glow in the dark. If you didn't want it to be even more green, well, this we're gonna give it to you right here. This glow in the dark. This is really cool because we're partnering with a printer who actually you can turn these things off, and it actually looks glow in the dark, but when the lights are on, it's like a regular looking cover. So it's like super cool. It's like best of both worlds. You get the regular looking cover when the lights are on, but when those lights go down, she's gonna be glowing that booty. So and that's for $40. That's a pretty good price for a specialty over. And then you got another spot foil for $45, and then you can get it a pick 2 any for $50, and then you get a box of bards. That's gonna be like some is that randoms? I think those are random picks of bards stuff, right? And I forget. Let me see. I'm trying to pull them up and see. So it looks like you get the 90-page anthology, and then a handful of bard swag and comics. They're gonna load you up with a bunch of really great stuff there. And then and then $250 gets you lifetime digital comics from Band of Bards. Like that's freaking awesome. Like
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So everything they do, what is that?
Every single thing that they do that they publish from this point on, you are going to get it digitally for free in your inbox every time that every month that they drop. And who
Pretty
knows?
good deal.
It's a really good deal
Like
because
a really, really good deal. Like forever, like they could publish for the next, 50 years. You're going to get a lot of comics.
oh heck yeah, for $250, that'll be worth it the first couple of times that you get that in your inbox. Seriously. And then what they're going to do is I think they're going to load you up with the way they're going to fulfill that is you're going to do global comics, I believe, because that's how they fulfill all of their digital comics. So and then you basically hit lifetime comics on global comics for one publisher. Heck yeah. And then you get everything in this campaign for $300. Heck yeah. They got a big list of everything that goes inside that. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you look at what is inside there. So definitely all these are really, really affordable. There's $45. I think $75 is the highest that I could probably go for me without my wife saying, hey, what are you dropping that 75 big ones on? All right. But that's a great, this is some great stuff. You get tons of comics for $75 plus these gorgeous looking covers. Very, very cool. CJ, so when you guys were looking, tell us that there's a lot of covers, man, and I know you really love your covers.
Love them. Although now I'm regretting Tiny Island cover fulfillment because I'm fulfilling now, and I'm like, shit, I've got 9 covers for this goddamn book.
That's what I wanted to talk. So when you have all these covers, man, how do you feel when you fulfill all those different covers? Because you got lots and lots of items there.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't too bad. And I went with Comics Wellspring. They didn't charge me any extra for all the covers. I could have as many as I wanted. They didn't charge me any extra. So it was really just my own burden to bear. Once I got all the protective covers off and got them all bagged and boarded, it was totally fine. And my wife helped me with that. But it is a lot. Like at first it's daunting and I'm looking at it going, shit, why the fuck didn't Joey tell me to not do all these covers? Like what did I pay that guy all that?
That's a lie. That is a lie. There's so many text messages telling you why the F did CJ pick all of these covers. Tell him to cut it down.
It was so hard with that, like in every project, and I'll tie this to Amongst the Stars too. I love art and I love working with artists, and I have artists that I love to work with all the time, and I have artists that I haven't worked with. So I'm like, oh, this is a perfect project for so-and-so. And then it just kept ratcheting up and it kept going. And I was like, holy shit, I've got a lot of covers now. And it worked out for me in the end. It was great. I had a lot of people buy at least 2 covers, which was kind of the goal. My goal always is to be like, I want you to really struggle to pick one. Like, I want you to be like almost miserable that you are maybe only going to get 1 and more likely you're going to get 2. And I heard from a number of people that say, I wish I could have afforded to get 3 because I loved those covers. And I was like, oh man, that's really great to hear. But then at the same time, I'm also like, oh shit, that's a lot of work to fulfill. So next time around, I've got another project in the works. It'll be in between Amongst the Stars, which has 5 covers. It'll probably be like 5, covers. Like
he's like he cut it down from like 20 to 5.
Yeah. It was 9. It was a lot. It was a lot of covers, and it would have been more if you would have let me do the virgin variants. But you were like, dude, you cannot do virgin variants. You're never gonna get these fulfilled.
I did. I literally told him I was like, you got to think about like what you're gonna do is you have to, like, every single time that you have a brand new cover, that means that there's gonna be a brand new set of, if they have, whatever minimums, if a place has 25 minimums, you're gonna have 25 of those covers printed if only one person buys that covers, because that's their minimum. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to pay the minimum of this printer. Sometimes it's not 25, sometimes it's 50 or 100, depending on the page count, or what they have all different kind of variants of reasons why they increase prices. But it's like you got to go to print every single cover. Is like, oh my gosh. And then halfway through the campaign, he's like, hey, what do you think about dropping this new cover? I'm like, CJ, dang it.
I just love I love art, like I said, and we had so many good covers. And I had some that I didn't even use that I'm going to use as con exclusives that I didn't even drop, that I was like, okay, you know what?
I had to convince them on that too, guys. I had to tell, I was like, listen, dude, listen, this campaign's not the end all be all, because you're going to have things that you're going to be doing. You're going to be taking this book on the road, right? And you're also going to be putting it on your website. So you can hold these ones back and say, this is my web store exclusive, or my con exclusive, and hold some back. Like you can buy all the covers you want in the world, right? But if you are strategically using them for your benefit, right, it's better to do it that way than spending them all in just one campaign and then never letting them see the light of day again.
Yeah. Like, and I held one back. There's a direct market edition for Tiny Island 2 that has a brand new cover, because I'm really big on unique experiences where if I'm going to do a campaign, and likely I'm going to try to do a direct market deal, I want those to be different covers. I want people to experience them differently. I want to reward shops for helping me. I don't want it to be a much cheaper version of what I already did. And now I get not every creator can do that. There's budgetary constraints. That's me trying to entice stores to be like, hey, I still think there's a market for this out there. I think my fans will still probably pursue it because they're a completionist and they want this, or the person that missed out on the campaign might want to get this too. So that's how I kind of go about it. Like you'll see that with, and I'm sure the Bards might use one of the 1,000 covers that I have left over from this for direct market too, so I think I'm single-handedly keeping indie artists employed right now. I've already hit up Ben for a cover too. I'm like, just hitting everybody up for covers. I bank covers. I'm like, when I know I have projects coming up, I'm like, okay, like I got money for my writing gigs. I'm turning this back into my business. Who can I get a cover from? Who can I get a cover from? Who can I get a cover from?
I am going to be asking my 5% off of that on that commission, getting you two together there.
Are you Ben's agent?
At this point, no, just kidding. But no, dude, I love that though. I love that because Ben has through us, we've kind of gotten him to other gigs and stuff. Like he did another job for Oneshi Press. He's doing a job for you. He's doing a couple for some other friends, and it's really cool that we kind of see kind of this cohesiveness happen within the indie comics scene. Ben, I want to talk to you because you do this too, man. What is your process when you set your prices for your campaigns?
Well, it's different. I guess all my campaigns have been a little different. The next one I'm going to do is just reprinting a hardcover of something I've already done. Obviously, I'm just trying to get a good run of that, printed. So I'm just really going to keep that as low as I can. With other campaigns, like for instance, the first Scarlet Twilight, the goals were totally different. I wanted to keep everything. I kind of approach it like just making sure I wasn't ever going to be in the red, essentially. Mm-hmm. So I looked into doing print on demand and making it work. I think I set the goal at 1,500, just because it seemed like a good goal. But I had it set up so that if one person bought the darn thing, the cost for that would cover it. And I had Kablam print it so they can do any quantity. They can do one, they can do hundreds, and they also fulfilled themselves. So I kind of got a handle on their fulfillment costs, the printing cost per one issue, and just built my whole campaign out that way, knowing that it could be kind of at least feel pretty good unless shipping went crazy in the interim, that I wasn't going to be losing money. And the reason I did that is because it was my first Kickstarter. I was obviously new to the whole thing, And I was just looking to build an audience. I wanted to get as many backers as I could. I wanted to get people looking at my artwork, hopefully, help my other books out a little bit. So it really depends, for me at least, on what my goal is for that campaign. And with every campaign I've had, it's been a little bit different. Once I got into the later Scarlet Twilights, I was kind of looking at, okay, I've got people that are invested in the story. I'm really enjoying drawing this character and doing different things with the sort of vibe of the, it's a retro book and doing things that played off that. And that's when I started to build in ways to like, okay, what special features can I throw in here, and start doing like expanded editions of the book that had a little bit of like kind of extras, design sketches, explanations of things. And that's where I started to build in like a little bit of a premium tier if somebody was interested in that I could, add a little bit of more work, but get some more money that I could put back into the books for future campaigns. So it really is dependent, on what my specific goals are. Like I said, for that next campaign, it's not necessarily something where I can say, if I sell one, I'm going to still be okay. I'm going to have to get a big run with a minimum bar there. So just changes each time out, I guess.
Yeah, I think the first place that if you're gonna do anything, right? Let's say you have a finished book, right? You have, let's say 20. I got a 20 something page book, right? Let's take 28 page book, and I want to print it, right? But I want to make sure that I am setting the prices on my campaign appropriately, right? So the first thing that I would probably do is obviously find a printer that you're going to do beforehand, right? Don't wait for this afterwards, because it's better to know who your printer is before you even run your campaign, so that you can run your numbers pertaining to the how many print runs and how many minimums they have, right? And obviously if you have a one copy minimum, dude, that's freaking fantastic, right? Because you can basically do it, like basically print on demand. As many as they come in, you can order that many, right? But then most places, they have a minimum, right? I know there's some that have 25, some have 50, and some have 100. So you gotta just make sure you're always doing your homework with your printers before you're doing a campaign, because that's going to help you in the long run, knowing what kind of numbers you're going to be working with ahead of time, and then doing all those fun numbers that I hate doing to come up with the averages, the average dollar amount that the person has to back at in order for you to reach a campaign goal, right? So like it's a lot of craziness, but you got to do it, right? And one person who's got it freaking down packed and has like this amazing like a spreadsheet thing is freaking is Charlie McKelvey. That dude, that dude is like crazy with his spreadsheet. Like he's not gonna, he talks about it, but he never shows anybody, because that thing is probably worth a lot of money on how he has he works his campaign out every single time. So it's really smart to get organized, to make sure you know who you're printing, and then you can kind of go from there. What's the first thing that you do, Mr. Hudson, when you are when you have a finished product and you're about to run a campaign? What's the first thing you do?
If it's all done and ready to go, I start looking at calendars and kind of determining when the best time is. I start working on like the budgetary stuff and being like, okay, like art and everything. I like self-funding my stuff mostly ahead of time. I've been fortunate to have paid work, so I try to self-fund and just get paid back later on through the campaign. So I like doing that because I think it's helpful to show as much as you can of the campaign. And then I kind of build out a strategy, like, working with, somebody to help build the campaign, obviously, and then talking about what the appropriate time is, getting insights into friends and peers, if the page looks appropriate, noticing any errors, which there's always going to be an error, even if you have freaking everybody looking at it, you're always going to find something where you're like, God damn it, like screwed that up. That's typically what I do, is I kind of go through the motions. Like right now, I have pretty much everything done except for some covers that I'm trying to get for my next campaign, but I haven't even decided, launch or anything yet. I kind of want to determine best time, because we're going to get close to the end of the year probably when I do it. And once you get into fourth quarter, that's kind of a killer. Maybe it's better to just wait. So I'm fine with just kind of waiting too. I'm never one that's like, oh my God, I gotta do this now. I gotta do this now. I'm always like, do it when the time's right. Like, it's okay to wait a few months if you feel like you want that time. Especially if like you're running up against something like, oh, I don't know, Christmas, then maybe it's like a better deal. Unless like that people are going to be buying your comic to give to their kids or something, then it might be better to wait. But yeah, that's typically what I do, is I kind of run through it, like bank my project and then just kind of wait. Like, I'm waiting on some covers for somebody that I think will be amazing, and so it'd be great to get them now, but in my gut it's telling me that I should wait to get this cover because I feel like going with somebody else might not be as beneficial for this campaign. It's sci-fi, this is in her wheelhouse, and if I can just wait 2 months, like, I'll get it, and maybe I'll just launch, like, I don't know, like January or February next year. That's all good.
Yeah, there you go. Ben, what do you do? What's the first thing you do when you are ready to launch?
Ready to launch? Well, I would say it depends on, like I said, my campaigns have been a little different. The first thing I do, and I'm in a little bit of a different position because I'm writing and drawing all my own stuff, is really just making sure I'm putting my best foot forward. For a campaign for like the hardback I'm putting out pretty soon, that means just kind of having really nice mock-ups and showing like what that product is going to feel like in your hands. With Scarlet Twilight, where I was kind of just running with the story, I wanted to make sure I had the best pages I could show. And that means partly just the pages that look really cool, where action is happening, but also things that really describe the tone of the project. In that case, it was really Art Deco and retro. So I needed to make sure I had a few pages that showed, action, but also a few pages that showed, those sort of cool Art Deco, Fleischer inspired backgrounds and things like that. So I think it really comes down to, what I think is the most exciting thing I'm offering to a backer, making sure I really set up the whole campaign and all my images that in a way that highlights that draw. What do I really want you to take away? What do I think is really going to drive you to back it? And make sure I just get as much of that concentrated on there as I possibly can.
Totally. Yeah. The first thing that I do is I think about what kind of campaign I want this to be, right? And I think about, okay, how many covers do I want? And what am I going to do with those covers, right? Am I going to make them standard covers, or I'm going to have them be these specialty covers? And then when I think about all that, right, I figure out, okay, cool, I want like last time around, we did an embossed foil cover, right? Well, I knew who we were going to use to print those. And I had to also think about, okay, well, are we going to use them to print our standard covers as well? Or are we going to use somebody different? Or and what does that look like, right? So I had to put the budget together, right? So, okay, how much is that going to cost me? It's going to cost a little bit more than a standard cover to print. And then we have 2 covers. We're also going to have 3 times to go print. Now, okay, now there's 3 different prints. Now there's 3 different prices. Okay, what am I now? I have to put all those numbers together. And then here comes all the fun stuff that I hate. I hate math. And and I took a job that I have to do math all the time, and right to figure out where my budget is, what am I going to price these books at, and how much it's going to cost to initially fund this thing to get it printed and to ship to you guys, right? Because I always think about shipping, and you always have to be on, you have your finger on the pulse with shipping right now, because the prices are always fluctuating, so you have to always be on point with those. Right now it's anywhere from $5.50 to $6 domestic, and then anywhere from $15 to $22, I believe, depending on where you're sending them to overseas. Sometimes a little bit more, depending on if it's like further away. So but right now it's like almost $6 domestic. That's a lot, right? Opposed to like when I was first getting them, it was like $3 or $4 for people to send it. It's $5, and then there was a big, huge conversation on social media where people, if it was more than $5, people did not want to back because it was shipping more than $5. But now we have to adjust with these prices because USPS is shooting up their prices, right? I mean, everybody's going to start doing that now because it's getting closer to fourth quarter. We got Christmas coming. Everybody's going to start sending things, right? So there's going to be more work. The prices go up when there's more work. You got to pay people more because now they're going to have more time in that they're going to be on the job. So it's like all these things that you are working with as we're going into these different times of the year, you have to think about all those things too, right? So you have to budget all those things, and just like CJ said, you have to figure out when the right time is, right? So you have to think about what holidays are around me, right? Because I had a guy, we just finished, they're finishing out their build, right? And then boom, here comes 4th of July. And 4th of July this year, people wanted to go out, and sure enough, 4th of July was one of the biggest travel time days, right? So it's like, okay, that means everybody's on the road and nobody's looking at their computers or their phones, looking through Kickstarter. So they're not going to buy on 4th of July. So don't launch anything, right? So it's like, you got to think about all these different things that is going on in the world around you and figure out the best time to push your book out there. And you're never going to figure out the exact perfect day, but you can kind of predict of which direction these trends are going by looking at the Kickstarters that are out there, right? Look at your peers, look at what's tonality closest to yours, maybe the look, the genre, the feel, the vibe, whatever it is. Figure out what that is, and then go look at other campaigns that are doing the same thing and look at what they're funding at. Look at what they are offering. And I'm not saying copy them, right? But get an idea of what these people are, what their backers are buying, because that will always help you think about what your backers are going to buy, because a lot of the times they're going to do a lot of crossover, but they're also going to follow the trends, because it's just weird when things happen. They just follow the trends that way. I think of it like this, like a herd of cattle, right? You're always going to get these people that venture off, right? But there are always going to be people that follow the trend in the direction that it's moving. So you always got to make sure that you have a finger on the pulse of these sales trends, not only just in comics, but in everything, and know when people are buying, when people are not. And you just kind of got to notice these things. And nobody told us that was part of comics, right? So it
used to be, right? It was all direct market.
Right, exactly. And I think I love it because now we have a better understanding of it, because we're in the middle of it and we do it ourselves, and now we know what it takes, right? So we're gonna get our butts out there and do it. So we're a little over on our time, but Ben, I want to give us some time to talk about some of the things that we're doing, and maybe talk a little bit about some other campaigns. We did not get to our pal Matt Blair. We're gonna see if we can get him on the show another time, but please, can you plug his campaign a little bit and talk about Romanus Magic? Hey, this is number 2, issue number 2. This one's gorgeous looking. Please go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so it's a great looking book. We've had Matthew on before for issue 1. He had some great covers and beautiful artwork. It's a great story concept. You can see here, a broken ex-legionnaire struggling to adjust to his new life while a great evil is stalking the city of Rome. So he described this a lot to us when we had him on for 1, but it's a great combination of the kind of historical genre stuff mixed with a bunch of supernatural. Really nice artwork here. I think this is big 2-level stuff for sure, and it's a great concept with great artwork. So I don't think
I love the interiors on this. It gives me like an image vibe. I forget. We have the artist down there somewhere. But it's our pal Matt Blair, and then look at that cover. Oh man,
yeah, I love this cover.
I think
I just saw
cool.
this today.
Yeah. Gorgeous looking. I forget who his artist is on this one.
Paul Smith.
There we go.
Yeah.
Gorgeous stuff. So you're definitely gonna want to grab this one. Check it out. Matt Blair does some really good stuff. He's got another one, Kaijus and Cowboys. That one's really gorgeous looking too. you guys, like, this is the thing with Matt Blair stuff. Like his it's and there's not a lot of people that know about his stuff, but he's got some really freaking fantastic things going on, and a lot more people really need to know Matthew Blair and the things that he's doing. So check this one out, and consider backing this one. What else we got? We got our pals over at Dauntless Stories. They have Unbroken. Definitely want to check this one out. We got Brent Fisher's on this one, and all kinds of really great people on this one. As Ben gets that one going, we're gonna invite Brent and Marcus on come very, very soon to talk a little bit about this one. Gorgeous looking book here. Can you read that log line for me, Ben?
Yeah, sure. Step into the spellbinding world of Unbroken, a thrilling fantasy graphic novel set in the deadly verse of Dauntless Stories. So this is also, I think we talked about this a little bit. They're setting up a few really cool like universes, starting with this year, and this is the great place to get in.
Yeah, totally. This is going to be a really good place to get yourself in here in the world. They're doing some really cool experiments with self funding and crowdfunding. They recently did one through their website that was really, really successful, and they're doing this one. I think they're going to do a backer kit one. They're going to really kind of jump around and kind of really build out their base with these on this crowdfunding space, and really kind of give everybody these different kind of I feel like the stories have these like really cool adventures, right? And then they're kind of sending us on adventure to back some of their stuff. So I really love this concept and the ideas that they got going on. You guys are going to be blown away with a lot of the stuff that they have coming in the next year or two. It's gonna be it's like literally my head is spinning with all the great things that they've been saying is gonna be going on. So definitely check out Unbroken from Dauntless Stories and the Deadly Verse. Gorgeous stuff here.
Absolutely.
And then Ben, let's talk a little bit about your stuff.
Absolutely. So best place to find my stuff is at my Linktree. And you can see that in the show description if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you go to Linktree, look up August Comic. That'll connect you to the Kickstarter I'm going to put together pretty soon for August Purgatory Underground. We're going to do a slightly different version of the hardcover and bring it to Kickstarter after the Zoop campaign last year. We'll also have pretty soon on the heels of that, we're going to be doing the next Scarlet Twilight, the sequel to that, which is going to be called Cobalt Crisis. It's essentially if Crisis on Infinite Earths had been produced in the 1940s. So you're going to get all that big time epic adventure combined with the 1940s vibe.
Very, very cool.
Very
I
cool.
love that. And then, heck yeah, super cool. And then so we did fulfill Archetypes issue 1, and I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of the issue a little bit, but also I have not sent the link over to you, Ben, but I put this up on our coffee page. It's ko-fi.com/geek collective, and you can head on over to the shop on that page, and we have our issues up there for sale if you guys missed the campaign and you guys want to grab one of those issues. But we obviously had our regular cover issue there that everybody saw, right? And then we had our gorgeous looking variant cover that Benjamin W. Morse did. But what I really wanted to show you guys was this really cool embossed cover. And this is one of those really cool things that we were talking about, right? You had to budget. I had to think about what we were going to do, right? I had to. This is one of those ideas that I had. I was like, okay, well, we want to offer something special, but I don't want to have to pay for too many covers. We can use the variant cover and then do some kind of specialty thing. Maybe I was going to do a metal cover or some foil stuff. I really wanted to do some foil stuff. Then my buddy was like, well, I've got this really cool embossing thing that we do. He sent me some videos, and I was like, holy smokes, that thing is bad. So I don't know if this thing does anything justice, but you can see that this has some
Very
texture,
cool.
some texture there. And then here's the embossing. I don't know if you guys can see that, the angles that I'm showing you guys there, but oh my gosh, this thing is so cool. All those different textures, even these bubbles, this cloud bubble stuff that Ben did is got a texture there. There's some of the pieces on her dress is texturized, her bones on her skin, the words, all the text that you see is embossed. Gorgeous looking stuff. The interiors are really gorgeous, gorgeous looking. I'm really excited about the way this thing definitely turned out. All some really cool looking stuff. So make sure you guys are checking that one out. If you guys haven't, head on over to our coffee site and grab that. I just wanted to put something up really quick, and then that was the easiest place to do it. And then so you guys can head on over to that coffee site, and it's ko-fi.com/geek-collective/shop. So you guys can head on over there and check that one out. So
I bought both covers. Gonna interrupt you and say I got both because I couldn't decide. As you know, I love covers, so I had to get both.
I gotta convince you to grab one of these really gorgeous looking embossed covers, man.
It looks cool, man. Like I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, they really got in there. I couldn't be happier with how that turned out.
Yeah.
Really cool. It's so cool. And what's amazing about our printer is we partnered with Hero and Villain Designs, and they are based out of Glendale, Arizona. And here's our page now. You guys can head on over there and check it out. That is ko-fi.com/geek-collective/shop. And you can check it out. We have each issue up there for sale right now, and you guys can grab one of those there, and we'll get it shipped out to you guys. So in case you guys didn't missed it, and you guys can grab one of those covers there, CJ. It's pretty affordable. It's only $40 for an embossed foil cover by Benjamin W. Morse. So but what I wanted to tell you guys was we got this issue coming out, right? And we have a second issue, and it's already pretty hefty. This other one we had to really kind of make some choices because it was getting a little hefty there, and we wanted to make sure that we got it out to you guys in a saddle stitch. But this time around, second issue is going to be super huge. It's already like 50-60 pages right there, and we're going to try to get it to 80 pages so that we can get you guys a perfect bound book. And we're going to fill it with some comics. We're going to fill it with some articles. We already had 2 people turn in their articles, and we have a bunch more people going to be turning in theirs as well. We're going to do some comics. CJ, you guys are going to be doing a comic book that is going to be in. Do you want to talk a little bit about that coming in? Because I believe, I don't know if it's with Marcus. Marcus talked a little bit. He told me that he might still be able to so
that'd be really cool.
I don't know if it's the first time you're hearing it, but he told me that he's going to talk to you, and he still might be able to make that deadline.
Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, yeah, because it's 4 pages, but it was fun. You know, it kind of just happened because you put up a posting, and we're like, hey, you know, I'm gonna do an open submission if somebody wants to do. Submit to this. And Marcus said, hey, if anybody wants, if you're a writer that I haven't teamed with before, I'm down to work with you. And I jumped on it, and like, just, I didn't think anything of it because I was like, everybody wants to work with with Marcus probably. And I was like, I'm probably going to be towards the bottom of the list. And I just said, Marcus, it's time, bruh. Like, let's do this. And then he just DM'd me, and he was like, dude, I've been wanting to work with you too. Let's do it. So I was like, awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a fun story. It's like, it's 4 pages. We want to do something, quick and easy, but it's very much like it's something that we could expand on too, because it's like this intergalactic cavalry, like fighting against this like hive mind creature in space, and how this cavalry officer has to like avoid certain disasters. So it's very fast paced to do in 4 pages, but I thought it was really fun, and I was like, dude, if people like this, we have to do more. This is a really cool idea.
Very cool. Yeah, and so our theme for this issue is going to be a spooky season theme, and we got a bunch of people turning in all their really cool stuff. So we got CJ he's going to do something. Hopefully it's going to, if Marcus's schedule is still good, he's going to do something, Marcus. But if not, he's got a backup.
I got a backup. I'm
He's
ready.
got a
I'm
backup
always ready.
creator. So he's got a backup. So we're definitely going to see something from CJ in this one. Ben and I, Ben, we're hoping Ben can help us out with some stuff. But my buddy Raphael, he was the one that did the Mother Wolf and Cubs the last time around. He's gonna do a script. He's gonna write a script for me, and we're gonna be doing some collaboration on that script. And from a story for me, actually, I pitched a story to him, and he was like, "Dude, I love that. Let me write something for it." And he like came back with some really cool, with a really cool outline. For like 8 pages, and I said, dude, this is really cool, let's do it. So he's scripting that thing right now, and then we're gonna be working together, kind of edit it and I'll work helping with some dialogue and stuff, because I've got some ideas of what I want to do there. But it's a really cool, creepy, all I'm gonna say is it takes place in a carnival. That's all I'm gonna say. It's spooky themed. So it's a really cool idea we came up with, and I think it's gonna be really fun. And then so we got some really cool articles. I'm gonna have a really cool mind-bending existential story from Lindsay G's. She's the editor in chief over at Oneshi Press. She does some prose stuff, and I don't know if you guys have read her existential prose stuff, but it is really cool, really mind-bending, fun, quirky, weird stuff. And I always want to make sure that I give her another reason to write some weird stuff. So she's gonna write something for us. We got really cool stuff. There's so much. I don't want to give too much away until we start marketing this thing, because we have some articles about talking about the existential storytelling of Tynan and hit their mimetic kind of their trilogy of mimetic stuff. And then we're going to talk a little bit about we're going to have Adriano run it back with some more tips and tricks on how to write a script. So tons of more stuff, lots more comics, lots more of some articles, and working useful tools that you guys can turn into some really cool campaigns and stuff like that. We're gonna run it back just like we did the first time, give you guys all kinds of really fun tools, and we're gonna have some really great opportunities this time around for this thing. So we're gonna have this time our main feature is gonna be a feature with Jonathan Hedrick. I'm gonna have somebody. Hopefully, we have somebody lined up to do an interview with him to talk about his entire career and all the things that he's done from the time that he began until now. And then we're gonna also include one of his books, an 8-page story in there, along with that really cool article. So it's gonna be really fun, guys. You're definitely gonna want to check that one out. You guys can head on over to Geek Collective .net/archetypes2, the number 2, right now, and sign up for that campaign right now. It is available on Kickstarter to notify you on launch. Once we go launch, we're gonna launch that one in October, so make sure you guys are checking that one out. We want as many people as possible to be following this one, so that we can reach as many possible when it goes live. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Ben, you got anything else?
No, I think we covered it all.
Very cool. CJ, please let everybody know where they can find you on social media and all that good stuff.
Yeah, at Siege the Hudson on Twitter. That's mainly where I am, in Blue Sky a little bit too. So those are my main 2 spots where I'm hanging. Just DMing artists, trying to get those covers.
Fantastic. And Ben, where can they find you?
Find me at Twitter at Benjamin W. Morse, and at YouTube you can find me at Benjamin Morse Comic Artist.
And you can find me. And you can find me at Joey Galvez 1984. And please follow us on Kickstarter. You can find us at Geek Collective on Kickstarter, or myself, Joey Galvez. That's where we're going to be launching Archetypes 2. So make sure you guys are checking us out there. Find Benjamin W. Morse and CJ on Kickstarter to follow them. Because you guys are going to be notified anytime that they launch anything if you follow them, and you'll be able to see what else they're backing too, because they back some really fun stuff, and it's really cool to kind of see what they're doing, and maybe you guys could back some other for really fun campaigns as well. So check that out. Find us there. Head on over to our coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/Geek Collective/shop, and grab yourself a copy of one of these gorgeous looking covers of Archetypes issue number 1, and then we're gonna be running it back again. You guys will be able to have another opportunity to grab fill you guys selves one of these. We're gonna drop the prices a little bit for a sale going on. Maybe we'll double some things up, but you guys are definitely gonna want to check out some stuff. So thanks again, and Ben, please play that outro.